want you to put one above and two below.
Yep.
Leave a little space.
Yep.
Pull smoothly and release.
Ooh,
Good
beautiful.
shot.
Nice.
Great shot.
I'm taking some target practice with my buddy Phil from my brother-in-law Steve, who's a master bow maker. Today is St. David's Day and we celebrate everything Welsh, including that most famous Welsh invention, the longbow. All right, Steve, let me show you how a Welshman handles a longbow.
Step back.
Oh, that's gonna leave a mark. You know, my abilities as an archer would be greatly disappointing to my Welsh ancestors, who considered archery skill a prerequisite to being Welsh. However, what I lack with the bow and arrow, I more than make up for in skill on my farm and in the kitchen. My Welsh heritage is the inspiration for tonight's meal. We're going to be having organic lamb chops, roasted parsnips, creamy Jerusalem artichoke puree, some wilted mash, an unbelievable looking mint oil, and we're going to celebrate St. David's Day with a reading of The Outing by Dylan Thomas. Dude, it's going to be smashing, man. Even early in the season, there's plenty to be found on our organic farm. Believe it or not, many vegetables survive the winter quite happily under the insulating blanket of snow. These fabric row covers are a lifesaver on my organic farm, helping to protect my crops from the winter elements. Before I start planting again, I gather up the covers, wash them, and recycle them for another season. Surprisingly, what survives the winter is an abundance of treasures, like Jerusalem artichokes and parsnips. These are some of the players in tonight's special St. David's Day meal. From North America, we have Jerusalem artichokes. These aren't like the globe artichokes, it's a different family. Globe artichokes are a thistle, Jerusalem artichoke is a sunflower, Heliopsis tuberosum. Now you grow these just like potatoes and you cook them just like potatoes. If you want a really nice light colored soup, you'd peel them first. But most of the flavor and a lot of the nutrients on vegetables are on the outside, so if you don't have to, leave the skin on and just scrub them before you cook with them. Our English portion, parsnips. These were grown since the 1400s. It's a very old root vegetable. And to me, it's got this smell that kind of is a mixture of coconut and licorice. And these have been stored in the root cellar, very, very dark, very cold and humid. And they're still nice and firm. And because of that, they're going to be really, really sweet as well. From France, we have mash. Now, curiously enough, when you buy the seed, make sure you get untreated seed or organic seed. They're going to smell a little bit like gym socks. But they make a nice tasting plant after they grow up out of the ground. It's sort of a minty, lovely mellow flavor, and it takes heat really well. You can wilt it without it all shriveling up and getting nasty. It's great. Now, this is the famous French salad ingredient, mash. This is going to sound a little bit like that fishing story. You should have been here yesterday, but trust me, this ground was covered with mash right through the winter. We were picking from it when the snows weren't too bad, but there's not that much left right now. I, like every good farmer, hedge my bets, and I've got a great crop in the greenhouse. We'll go and take a look in there instead. All right, I found a better example of mash in our greenhouse here. Now, it's also known as lamb's lettuce because it's grown at a time when the little lambs are born, in early spring. It's a very cold tolerant and frost tolerant plant. You can also grow it in the fall, and it'll even overwinter for you if your winters are mild enough. Now, mash is also a great plant because it can tolerate extremely close growing conditions. And don't worry about thinning it out. You harvest the thinnings. Rather than taking individual leaves, mash grows in what's called a rosette. So you'll take the entire rosette like this, take the straggly bottom leaves off, give it a clip with the scissors, and that's all you have to do. That grit is unbelievable. And you can pack them really close together in a tray that you'd use for transplanting in the spring. Keep them in the soil like that, in a cool, dark place like your root cellar, and these plants will stay green, closely packed together, and you can harvest them in December from your root cellar as well. Mash may look dainty and delectable, but it's a stubborn and smelly organic crop.
Two things about mash seed. It's notoriously stinky and it's notoriously difficult to germinate. So we'll show you how to do it properly in this little bed here. First of all, you need a very level seed bed. We fill the hoppers with mash seed. Now in the greenhouse, I use one of these 4-row pinpoint seeders. Some seed companies also have a 1-row for people at home. The trick to getting mash to germinate really well is first of all to give it a really good tamping into the seed bed and then do the 2-foot mash shuffle. And this will press the seeds really firmly into the soil. You wouldn't believe how tiring this is. I wouldn't want to do this for a couple of hours. Ta-da! Mash is done. Well, I better get my ass in gear. I've got another project that demands my attention. I got Tina a really neat present this Christmas. Something that reminds her a little bit of me, I think. Hey kids, can you give me a hand with this? Oh, there she is. This is Jesus. He's a good little pet, and I think I'm gonna dig him up a treat from my garden. He likes parsnips, and they're the featured ingredient in tonight's dish, so we're gonna share some with him. Right, Jesus? Right.
When we come back, we'll be digging for gold. Parsnips and artichokes for tonight's St. David's Day feast. This may not look like a field of organic dreams, but buried just below the surface is a crop I've been waiting months for. Oh, how I love parsnips. They're so parsnippity.
Now the best tasting parsnips you can grow will survive in your garden over the winter. The cold of winter will sweeten the parsnips, converting the starches into sugar. So let them get good and kissed by winter's cold, and they'll be the sweetest parsnips you've ever had. What happened in our fields here, the grass that was our enemy in the summer has turned into our friend for the winter because it's acted like a snow fence, and it's trapped the snow around the parsnip plants and insulated them so they haven't had too much cold damage. But you've got to time your harvest with parsnips because once this vigorous green growth starts in the spring, you want to get them out of the ground quickly because they'll start getting a little bit more bitter tasting as the tops get bigger, and then they'll flower, and then that's the end of it. Oh boy, you can really smell the sweetness in these right now. The parsnips have been reaching for water. We grow them on hills, on raised beds, because every parsnip and carrot is a taproot, and it'll send down sort of an explorer root first into the soil, and then it'll fill it out as the season progresses. So if you've got a nice big hill of loose, easy to move through soil, you'll have nice, straight parsnips. Rawhide!
My search for hidden treasure never ends.
Now these piles of sticks down here in the soil aren't there by chance. They're put there by a great garden friend under the soil. Giant earthworms called night crawlers. And what they do is come up to the surface of the soil at night and feed on dead and decaying plant material. They drag it down into their burrows about 1 meter under the ground and break it down into organic matter that the plant roots in turn can feed on. It's like having a team of quiet rototillers working in your soil at night while you sleep. Now underneath this layer of dead sticks is another early season perennial that we harvest this time of year. It's mint. This is the tarnished plant bug. This is really the only garden pest you're going to find in your mint patch. And when it feeds on mint, it leaves little brown specks on the leaves. It looks like someone shot it with a brown paint gun. And it's really just sort of cosmetic damage. Now mint comes in a huge range of colors and textures and most importantly aromas. What we've got here is a variety that I like to use. The darker leaved is apple mint, and you can use it in both desserts and savory dishes like tonight's mint oil. On the other hand, this is pineapple mint. It's a lot paler in color, it's got some lovely yellow streaks in it, and it's got a real sort of citrusy overtone to it. in the fall, after the mint plants have died back, get some compost and top dress it. You don't need to work it in with mint because their roots primarily are on the surface. So spread the top dressing over the mint plants, and then in the spring when they start to grow, they'll start feeding on that layer of compost that you've given them. Now, I'm going to be using these to make a luscious mint oil to flavor tonight's lamb dinner. Kissable fresh. Let's go inside and see what's cooking with Tina.
Come along, Tegwin. There's some tasty treats awaiting us in the kitchen. That smells good.
Hi.
Hi.
Minty fresh breath? You've been out in the mint patch.
Yep.
Well, you're in time for the last batch of Welsh cakes, hot off the grill.
They smell good. What's in them?
Well, they're really nice and golden this year with our free-range eggs, huh? Hot off the grill.
Now, you know, my Nana started this tradition in Wales years ago, and my mum brought it to Canada, and now you're doing it here. And
Here I am.
I think you make the best ones.
Hooray!
Easy on
You
the
have to
eyes
say
and a
that.
dab hand in the kitchen too. Isn't that great? Okay, save some for me. Don't let the kids eat them all.
All right, see ya.
Time to uncover the last treasure for tonight's meal, Jerusalem artichokes. But be sure to dig them up before it gets too warm because they'll develop a bitter taste.
Jerusalem artichokes are North America's only native vegetable. It's a sunflower that grows about 9 or 10 feet tall, and it's perfectly adapted to the winter climates of North America because the real crop you want to eat is under the ground, these tubers that I'm picking. The stalks from the sunflower act as a snow fence, and it traps all that insulating blanket of snow around the plants so that the tubers will overwinter. Now, I harvest most of my Jerusalem artichokes in the fall, but every once in a while I'll leave a patch go and come and get it in the spring just for some spring exercise. Jerusalem artichokes you cook just like potatoes. You can roast them, you can puree them. They make a really wonderful soup. But for tonight with the lamb dish, we're going to make a Jerusalem potato puree, and I think it's going to be well worth the effort. Jerusalem artichokes are another great plant to grow organically because there's very little insect pests that bother them, and even fewer diseases. Now, each plant can produce about 3 or 4 pounds in really healthy, well-drained soil. Nature's bounty, given for us by the Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you.
Ooh, there's some lovely ones down here.
I always prefer to find local suppliers for the organic foods I can't provide myself. It helps the local economy, and it's good for the community. My next stop is McCully Hill Farm, my supplier of organic meat. The lamb for tonight's St. David's Day feast is coming from local lamb farmer Dave Pullen. He's my kind of farmer.
Obviously, the vegetables, it's better to have vegetables local and fresh, but the food that we eat, the meat as well, it's important to get local too, isn't it?
Yeah, what we're finding is more and more people seem to be interested in where the food's coming from and how it's produced. And they don't want all this transport. They want to know that something's fresh, it's coming from their local community.
Yeah, well, it benefits everybody in the local economy, doesn't it? It keeps it going. Now, Dave, these little fellas look way too cute to grace our dinner table. That's not the size lamb that we eat for Easter, is it?
Not when you come here to our store. No, our lambs are all raised up to just around 100 pounds or a little more, so at least 3 times this big.
They look so happy and content.
Of course, a happy animal is a very productive animal as well.
I like the little leg warmers. Do you have them do any modern dance or anything like that?
Not too much. No, we're pretty conventional that way.
All right, girls, form a line. We can get something going here, I think. Well, it's obvious you're doing a great job here. They just look great.
Well, thank you.
I'll see you later, ladies. I'm off to cook with Phil.
says that Welsh help the English at Agincourt, so the English are helping the Welsh today at St. David's Day meal. And what we've got is some organic lamb we've just got at Dave Pullen's farm, McCully Hills. We're also going to be using Jerusalem artichokes from our farm in a puree with potatoes, some parsnips also from our farm, and mash, also known as
lamb's lettuce.
Very good.
There you go.
And mint oil. Beautiful looking mint oil, look at that. And a honey and cider vinegar reduction. Yeah, okay. So let's get going with the lamb chops. We're going to season it with some salt, and we will sear them. Thank you.
Oh, smoking nice.
Okay. So we're going to sear these just a couple of minutes on each side, just to seal in the flavor.
Let me take that. So why do you sear them before you put them in the oven?
You end up with a much more succulent meat at the end of it. If you just sort of coat the outsides and you wait until they're nice and brown. When they lift off the pan easily, that's when they're ready to turn, which we will do now. And these guys are coming up now. There's no sticking, so we know they're good and browned on one side. Put a bit of pepper.
My time in Stratford cooking school has shown me just how to do that perfectly from a height like that. So they tell me. And that's how I've graduated to this jacket. I no longer wear a t-shirt in the kitchen.
Okay, I'm going to put these into the oven, 400 for about 10 minutes. That should do them.
Oh, they look good.
Parsnips is one vegetable that I do peel. I just find it more appealing that way. And just roast them with a bit of butter and a bit of olive oil and a bay leaf. So these are going in the oven at about 400 till they're soft and golden brown, 20 to 30 minutes.
And a bit of oil.
Topped and tailed. Yep.
Maybe a touch of butter, maybe?
Yep.
What do you think? Why not?
So now
they'll be fantastic in an hour.
A couple of bay leaves and onto the stove. Brown them a bit first on the stove, just to get the caramelization going, and then we're going to pop them into the oven. Yeah, in the spring. Okay, so I think these are ready to go into the oven now.
Yep.
They're nice and brown.
Do it.
Okay, now I think we're going to do the Jerusalem artichokes.
Okay, so we're going to put some butter in these.
So they've been in a bain-marie.
Yeah, just keeping them warm without them catching the bottom of the pan.
Right. Now these are just made just like potatoes, right? Jerusalem artichokes. You boil them up, and the potatoes are boiled separately. We put the two of them together and pureed them. Then we've added an obscene amount of butter.
And then, just to finish it off, we'll add a little bit of heavy cream. Great.
Back in the bain-marie.
Back dans le bain-marie.
Okay, I'll talk a bit about the mint oil we've got here. Now this is made by blanching mint, curiously enough, for about 10 seconds in boiling water, and then draining it, putting it into a food processor,
right,
and adding about a half a cup of olive oil to it, or neutral oil, and putting it over a sieve with a paper towel in it, or cheesecloth, and just letting it drip through. Okay, and what you're left with is this beautiful, beautiful lime green looking solution here. Isn't that great?
And smells of mint.
When we come back, we'll plate this wonderful dinner and get ready for our Welsh celebration. Phil and I have been busy conjuring up a feast of lamb and spring vegetables for tonight's St. David's Day banquet.
Parsnips. Great, great, great. Okay, so we're gonna put some mash on the plate first.
Okay. I'm good at this artistic part.
You are brilliant, man, brilliant.
Nice and high, nice and high.
The heat from the chops is gonna wilt the mash just so. And some parsnips on the side. And Phil, if you wanna do the honors with the J-chokes.
There we go.
And you stand by with the oil, and
I will.
We've made a reduction here with some honey and some cider vinegar, and we're going to put that on the outside like so.
Oh, that smells good.
You do the outside ring of honor with the mint oil.
Really?
Yeah. Give it a little shake.
I'm all nervous now. We'll just drizzle that around a little bit.
Perfect. I think St. David himself would be proud to eat this meal tonight.
I'm sure he would.
Oh, it puts a lump in me throat, it does. I'm going to start singing in a minute, man.
Men of Calais stand together.
Very good, well sung. Diolch i fawr.
There's no need for that. I only came to help.
There's the man. Oh, you're the man. Thanks, Scott. nectar of the gods. I'd like to welcome everybody today to Bijou on this fine St. David's Day. And I want to tell you how much it means to me to have people who mean so much to me celebrate a very important holiday to us Welsh people here. St. David's Day, March the 1st, is a time where we celebrate with song and poetry in Wales.
In celebration of St. David's Day, Aaron Linley, the chef at Bijou, helped us come up with an inspired seasonal menu to go along with our farm fresh produce and organic lamb.
That is Sebringville.
That's enough water for now. Okay, while everybody's enjoying their soup portion of the evening, I will start reading The Outing by Dylan Thomas, which was written in 1953, I believe. So, The Outing, a story. Partly because he was so big and trumpeting and red hams from the ceiling. She was so small, of the hot cheesy shop, and my uncle blew and boogled whenever he won. Who goes there? Called out Will Sentry to the flying moon. Happy St. David's Day.
Our dinner tonight proves that no matter what the season, good organic farming and fresh local food will always bring together good friends.
Parsnips and lamb.
Can't beat it.
Don't get any better than that.
Plain and simple. Parsnips and lamb.
I'd like to propose a toast in Welsh. Iachida. With mighty fork in hand, I'm Antony John, growing vegetables for the benefit of organic humanity everywhere. A man outstanding in his field.